Hello and welcome to the last part of CSS and Introduction. In this part we're going to just be putting everything that we have learned in the last few parts together and creating a navigation bar. This is a nice little way to wrap up this course. So to start with, I'm going to create a div inside of the HTML, and inside that div I'll put a paragraph, and we're going to use this paragraph as the kind of logo for the navigation bar. So I'm just going to call mine, let's just call it dogs, because my website's called dogs apparently. And then I'm going to come to the index CSS file, and I'm going to give that div a background color. Remember we looked in the last part at background colors. And I'm going to give it a value of a hexadecimal. You can choose whatever you want. I've just got one written down like so. And I'll save that and save my HTML file. And if I come in and refresh, you'll see that there's a problem. The navigation bar doesn't actually take up the entire space. You can see like here there's white space around it. And obviously I want it to take up this entire top portion of the site. And this is because by default, HTML elements have some padding and margin. And we can fix this by targeting every single thing on our HTML using the star selector, which means just select every element and give it some styling. So let's just remove the padding. So let's give a padding of 0 and a margin of 0. And we'll save that and come and refresh it, and you'll see that it sticks to the top. So next I want the navbar to have a certain height. A height that I use for all of my navbars is a height of 55 pixels. So I will save that and refresh, and that's a good height. I'm also going to change this to a class name of navbar, because obviously I'm going to have lots of different divs on the site. On a make-believe site, obviously we're not going to have any more on this, but eventually when we're creating a site and we've got a navbar, we only want to target the navbar itself, not every single div. So let's give that a class, and then in here target it. So if you refresh, it should stay the same. The next thing I want to do is make it so this logo, this title for the page, isn't stuck to the left hand side. And we can do that by just adding a padding to the left of the navbar, and we'll just give that 20 pixels for now. Not 220, and you'll see it moves it away. The next thing I want to do is change the color and the styling of the title, because it just doesn't go well on the blue background. So I'm going to target the P, but since we only want to target the navbar's P, we can write it like this, if you remember one of the earlier parts. So now it only targets the P that's in the navbar instead of targeting every P on our site. Let's give this a color of white, a font weight of bold, and refresh that and see what that looks like. So it looks a bit better there. We can give it a font size of something else, like, I don't know, let's just give it 2 rem. There we go, it's a bit bigger. Obviously we would want to change this font because it's horrible, but I'm just going to leave it simple for now. So there's another problem, that the title is sticking to the top. It's not actually centered nicely vertically inside of the div. There are a lot of different ways that we can fix this. The easiest is using a layout module called Flex. Now Flex is a course within itself, and I actually do have that. If you want to check it out, I would recommend it. It's really good for creating layouts, but we'll just look at quickly using it very simply. So we're going to give the navbar a display of Flex, and that makes the navbar become a Flex container. So everything that is in the navbar becomes a Flex item. And then I want to simply just target all of the items. So say align items, and align is the vertical, and just say center. And then I'll refresh, and you'll see it gets pushed into the center nicely. Obviously it looks a bit off because of the G, but it is centered. We'll be able to see this better with a different font. Next I'm going to add 2 links to the navbar so we can actually navigate around the site. So let's add an A tag with a href of index.html, and we'll give that a name of home, and then one more with a page 2. If you don't have a page 2, then you can just create a page 2.html. I think mine is just, mine's just got some stuff from the last course. It doesn't have to be anything. This is just for navigation purposes, and we'll call that just page 2. So if we save that and refresh, we can click on these and it'll take us to the new page. Obviously home will just take us to the place we are. So obviously I want to fix the styling of these because they are horrible. So the first thing we'll do is target the A's. So we can come navbar to the A. Let's get rid of the underline first. And to do this, it's using a property called text decoration. And we can give that none. If I save that and refresh, you'll see that it removes the underline. The next thing we'll do is change the color to white. And then see what that looks like. And then lastly, I want to separate the links so there's a bit of space in between. And to do this, the easiest way is just add a margin to the left of 20 pixels and refresh, and they get spread out nicely. So we've got this here, and then this here is a link. The final thing that we want to do is make it so the navbar sticks to the top. I can't actually demonstrate it right now. I'm just going to add, you don't need to do this. I'm just going to add some H1s, I guess, just with some text. And I'll copy and paste quite a lot of them. And if I refresh that, and then I'll zoom in just so it creates a scroll bar, you see that the navbar doesn't actually stick to the page. I want it to stick to the top, obviously, and always be visible. And we can do this using the fixed property that we looked at in part 4. So all we need to do is come to the navbar and give it a position of fixed. And save it. And then if we refresh, we'll see that something bad happens. Given the navbar a position of fixed, it causes it to only take up the space that is needed, so it just takes up the space coming to the last element here. Obviously, I want it to stretch across the entire page, so we can easily fix that by just coming into the navbar and giving it a width of 100%. And there we go, it fits across the entire page. And that's it for this course, the CSS introduction. It was obviously just an introduction, so we looked at the simple things, but moving forward, I would look at learning Flexbox because it's very useful for creating layouts, and I would look at grid as well. But the most important thing is just to start creating websites and learning new properties, because I could go through and create 100 parts in this course of just all the different properties, but there's no need when you can just Google how to do things. Now that you know the basic knowledge of CSS and how to use these things together, you'll be able to create some nice looking sites. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next course.